look at your review sheet and go ahead and take a moment and graph out a price floor and a price ceiling. Make sure that you can name examples of both and make sure that you can highlight what they create and where they create them on the graph. After you've done that, keep going. All right, a price floor. A price floor is where it's above equilibrium, so it looks a little bit opposite of what you expect. Okay, but you want to go below it and you keep running into that price floor. Remember me sort of banging my fist on my arm and saying, man, I want to go lower, but I can't. I'm held artificially high by this price floor. An example of price floor is minimum wage. So minimum wage, your boss wants to pay you less, but they can't. Okay, and myself, your substitute, we are all given a minimum wage from the state. And of course, you in your job have a minimum wage. I can assure you that my boss wants to pay me less, but he can't because he's held artificially high by this price floor. What that creates is a surplus. If this price is in fact above equilibrium, more people are going to want this job, are going to supply their labor, then workers are going to demand labor from them. So that ends up with a minimum wage situation, and you have a surplus. Price ceiling is, of course, going to be the opposite. So price ceiling is where you hold a price artificially low. The example you'll see on test, rent control. When rent is held lower than what the market value is, and this is something that happens in New York, okay, people are not willing to move out of those apartments, but lots of people are demanding those apartments. And so you have a shortage, because you have very high demand and you have low supply. No one's moving out, but lots of people would love to move in. So this is when price is held artificially below the equilibrium price, and this area would be the area of your shortage. What is elasticity? What does an inelastic curve look like? So take a moment and draw these out if you can remember. Elasticity talks about how much a good's supply or demand changes based on price. So if a good is elastic, it's going to look like a regular demand curve or a regular supply curve. And that means that when price changes, the amount demanded changes. If it's perfectly elastic, it would look straight out like this. There's only one example that we use in AP and that you'll use in college that is perfectly elastic, and that would be a situation of perfect competition. But for the most part, this is what elasticity looks like. This is what inelasticity looks like. And what I like about it is it looks like the letter I, straight up and down. Inelastic goods mean that if you have inelastic demand, no matter what people are going to buy the same amount. So insulin, if you don't buy enough insulin, then you die. So the demand for insulin is inelastic. It does not matter what price is. You will cut all kinds of other goods in your life before you cut your insulin. Inelastic supply, gasoline, coal, things that maybe over the long term you can get more, but in the short run, you don't have any more, you can't make any more. Another example of inelastic supply would be stadium size. So for example, if Mercer begins selling out their basketball arena and they can't really increase the supply of that very quickly, so they will have inelastic supply of that despite the fact that demand has clearly increased because Mercer's had a great year. So demand might go up, but supply is going to stay the same. Just like supply might go up and demand might stay the same.